Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our webinar. I see a lot of people are joining us, starting to get some attendees coming in. See some people from our Facebook page, so I'm excited to have you guys here. We're going to be showing you our EasyView online designer, which is used to create artwork for screen printed and digital transfers that you can use to apply to blank apparel. So we have our EasyView live webinar coming to you. We have our chat session over in the left-hand side that we'd love for you guys to actually ask questions, and we can show you how creating the artwork is done. Let me get to a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. The webinar is recorded, so we will have a recording of this posted on our website tomorrow afternoon. That everybody can watch. And if you, are watching our webinar after this, thank you for watching. We have our questions, like I said, over in the left-hand side that you guys can ask questions. And Sue and Mike are behind the scenes that they will be helping answer some of the questions. And I will try to get to as many as I can during the webinar. So for those of you who are new with Transfer Express, a little bit of a history on EasyView. We have an online designer now that has a lot of functionality of creating awesome artwork for t-shirts. In the past, we had our EasyView designer before this new upgrade. That was, you were able to customize the layout, but it had less features, like you weren't able to move anything around. You can change the text and change the clip art and change some of the color placement. But other than that, there really wasn't as much functionality with it. So our awesome IT department has put together this amazing online designer that you can use, and we keep adding features to it. So keep checking back too, and we will keep you updated on all of those features that get put in there. So let's get started. We can go over to my desktop. I might be jumping around a little bit because this is our first time doing a live webinar where we're showing you how to get into EasyView and all of that. So bear with me. So here we're at our transferexpress.com homepage. Just go to transferexpress.com and this will be our homepage. It might look a little bit different if you are joining us after the live webinar, but on our homepage, there's several ways to get into EasyView. First of all, you will need to be a current customer of Transfer Express. So if you have placed your first order with Transfer Express, you received a dealer ID, which is your login, and your password. So you can just enter that in here and log into Transfer Express. If you are not a current dealer, all you do have to do is get started with us is to place your first order, whether that be for transfers, for any of our marketing materials. You're able to get into the EasyView program as soon as you place your first order. So once you are here, let's see, we got a little bit. All right, we can go into our account. And there's a couple of ways that you can get into the EasyView Designer. You can either click this top header button that says Start Designing in EasyView, or you can click this button down here that says Design in EasyView. So there's a few places that you can get to it. This Start Designing in EasyView will be at the top of every single page. So you can always get to it very easily once you're logged in. So it'll bring you to our EasyView Designer. And our EasyView Designer will bring up this welcome screen. And this welcome screen is basically just asking, where do you want to start? What do you want to do? We have our choices here. You can either choose from our Easy Prints idea book layouts, which are already pre-designed layouts from our designers in-house that we have here that Every year we come out with new layouts and new clip art, new text, new patterns, and we put out our idea book every year. So those designs are customizable. So if you want to start that way, you can click on that. Our Easy Prints clip art, if you're just looking to get clip art printed as transfers. Our new functionality with Easy View is uploading your own artwork. So if your customer is providing you artwork, or if you can create your own through another graphic program, you can upload your own artwork here. A couple others: resuming your last session, starting from scratch. You can just start with a blank canvas and you don't have to, have any rails there. Or you can choose from your library. So if you've created before and you have designs saved, you can choose from your library. So I'm going to show you how to get in through the Easy Prints layouts, the idea book layouts. So this will bring you to our thousands upon thousands of design ideas, layouts that you can choose to customize, and you change the text and you change the clip arts and the fonts and the colors and all of that. So that is the best way to get started, in my opinion, is to look for something that you're interested in. We have all of our categories here on the left-hand side. So you can go from basics to, just text and clip art, text-only designs, where it's just simple text, to we have school, we have fashion layouts, work layouts. So you can really get into a lot of cool designs to create your t-shirts and your apparel from. So let's start, and then up here we have our clip art. So all of our clip art pieces that you can interchange into the layouts, your library, so if you have saved designs in the past, and then your custom clip art. So if you can actually have us save your custom clip art. So if your school has a mascot that we don't offer, or a company has a logo, you can save as a custom clip art, and you're able to add those just like you would our Easy Prints clip art. You can add those into any of the layouts and you would receive Easy Prints pricing. So Easy Prints pricing is any design used from our Easy Prints layouts. So that will also include your custom clip art. So let's go back to the layouts, and we're just going to start with a basic text and clip art layout, because I'm going to show you a little bit of the artboard that you're going to work with, and show you some of the buttons there. So let's just take a look at this is one of the most popular layouts here, QAL 12. Just simple text, one clip art, line of text underneath, straight, pretty basic, right? So let's try and take this. We'll kind of customize it a little bit and I'll show you. Let me show you this artboard though. On the artboard that we're working with here, you see our standard sheet size is 11¼ by 14 inches. This is our sheet size for our screen printed transfer sheets. So if you're ordering goof proof, hot split, polytrans, elastiprints, even the digital stretch litho, you're working with this 11¼ by 14 workspace. We have our buttons up here. You're going to have your layout number in this top left-hand corner, the size of your design, and then what you're going to name it if you want to save your design to come back to later. Over here on the artboard, we have our tools. We have our select tool. So this is the tool that I'm working with, our mouse, that you can click on the different items, the text, the clip art, and we can break these apart too, like the clip art that I'll show you in a little bit. But this is your selection tool that you can go ahead and click on things. You have your zoom tool. So if you need to zoom closer into the design to see details, then you can definitely do that. You just click with the zoom tool and it'll take you in, or I'm right clicking actually to zoom out, but you can use this zoom in and zoom out tool as well to zoom out over on the right hand side. So we have our zoom tool, or we can click and drag to zoom into a section also. So if you didn't see that, I'm clicking my right button here to zoom out, but click and drag and it'll help you zoom in to kind of see a little bit more fine detail of what your design looks like. So let me zoom back out here. or you can use this zoom button up here, zoom out, and that will take you to the whole sheet size here. And then your pan button is over here. So if you click on your pan button, you're able to move your whole artboard around without moving the design. So that helps too if you're working on a side design over here, trying to get something together, and you want to have open space over here. So that's our artboard here. And then if you come up here, you have your undo and redo button. So for example, let me get my selection tool. If I click on an object and I move it over here and I don't want to do that, you can click the undo button. The redo button will do it again. And then your object. So if you click on your object, these are selections that we can do. We can duplicate. We can mirror a design. So this is the duplicate here, duplicating. We can mirror an object, which it just flips it around. Let's see, let's do the undo button. Let's put it back to normal. We have our alignment tools. For example, if you want to make sure that all of these objects here are centered, you can click and drag to select all of the objects, and then go up to Object, Align, and then you can do Center to make sure that everything's in the center. See, that jumped over a little bit. You can align everything to the top if you need everything aligned to the top, which we don't. Let's undo. We'll have to select again. And then you can do some of the other alignment tools, like if we need to go everything to the right or everything to the left, for example. So those are the alignment tools. Let's get everything back to center. And then order. So your order would be if you have an object, so say this clip art is behind the text, you can put it to a different order. So you can say, I want that object to the top of the text. So let's put it to the back. Or if we have multiple things together, we can say I just want it to come up one. Or if you go another one, then it'll come up all the way to the front, up another one. So that's the order buttons. And then our delete tool and our select all tool. Select all selects it all. One thing I want to point out too are the alternate ways of getting these features done is the control button. So if you hold down your control button and if you pick Control D will be duplicate. So I just duplicated holding Control D down. Control C is copy. So if you want to copy and paste, you would do Control C, and then Control V is paste. So then you paste it there. So take a look at the control buttons that are to the right hand side of each of these features. And it kind of helps make things go a little bit faster too when you're moving things around. And then your zoom features are up here. You can either zoom to a selected object, which it will just zoom to there, or you can zoom to just the design. So if you have even smaller designs, you can zoom to the design, or zoom to the artboard, which it'll just get you back to the artboard. And then our other options up here, you can change the landscape of or the orientation of your sheet size, depending on how you want to work. Some people like to work in portrait landscape. Some people like to work in landscape orientation, but either way, we sometimes switch it around depending on the design and depending on how we can fit designs on the sheet, which I'll show you in a little bit. So, and then the category, adult size is going to give you some of our recommended sizes for if you were going on an adult t-shirt, for instance. These are just recommended sizes. We always suggest measuring too if you're working with something such as a hoodie or something like that. You want to measure your print area and make sure your design isn't going to end up over the hoodie pocket. So or for caps, you want to make sure that you're you know kind of what size. These are standard sizes that you would use for caps, but it's always good to make sure and measure because all caps are created different. And then this will just give you a smaller, so we did a cap, this will just give you a smaller area to work with. So if I knew that I was doing a cap, I want that grid line to show me, you know, my boundary. And then you can always pop back out to an adult. It'll keep that size. All right, and then, so that's the artboard. And then let's get in over to the left-hand side over here. And this is where we are going to be adding the artwork to your artboard. So I just took away the layout, but let's add some more. Right here, we can add just simple text. So if we just wanted to add a single line of text, multi-lines of text, this is our typesetting area, which I'll show you that in a little bit. But if you wanted to do your just simple text, just start from scratch, you can type in your text in this field here. We're in Mentor, Ohio. And then you can change the font. Sorry, I'm a little click happy. You can change the font or type style here, change the font to a different category. If we're just searching for something, you know, that's script, we can change it to something script, and vice versa. So you can add your clip arts up here. So if we just wanted to add a clip art from the idea book, we can add it here. This is also where you can go to your favorite clip arts if you had some favorite clip arts saved, and then your custom clip art if you do have custom clip art that you have created from a mascot or a logo. And then the add layout will take you to the idea book layouts that we saw before, and then or to my library or to my favorites. So that was all in your layout section. And then the add your artwork, add your custom artwork, which we'll show you that in a little bit. So let's take a look. I'm going to add one of these layouts back in here so I can show you what else is going on. Okay. So we have our text selected. In here, right here is where you can change your text, change your font, make it a little fancy, change it up a little bit. This is a standard full block font that's great for sports teams and you know, more athletic apparel. You can go a little bit something fancier, something with more curved edge, whatever you want to do. So that's your text. Your spacing over here will put either more space or less space in between each letter. The size of the design is here. You can change that, of course. If I just need a 5-inch design, or I'm sorry, if I just wanted to, you know, size the text, if I know that I can't go past 10.5 inches wide, I want to make sure that it's 10.5 inches wide. So you can change the size there. This little lock, some people don't know what this little lock is. This is your proportion button. So this will lock and unlock your aspect ratio, which will keep your design looking proportional. So when it's locked, if I change this to 10, it's also going to change the height, just to make sure that everything is looking just the way it did at 10.5 inches wide. It's going to look the same at 10 inches wide. So if we unlock the aspect ratio, we can play around a little bit more with the size here. We can do 10.5 inches wide, and it's going to, let's do that again. It won't change the height. So let's go to, I just want to show a drastic difference. And it will change it to where you can then shrink the text up. You can kind of play, it's a little bit more, you know, flexible with the text. I don't recommend doing things not in proportion. We'd prefer to keep that aspect ratio locked, just to make sure things look their best and things aren't stretched or shrunk. But you can definitely, if you're trying to get a certain look, you can definitely unlock that to do that. Your rotation here, so if we need to rotate something, your rotation will be here. if we also do some rotation. When you click on it, you have this little arrow over here on the side. You can actually twist that up, so that's your rotation. And when we let go, it brings up our rotation of how many degrees it was rotated there. So let's bring this back to 0. And I'll show you that with script and tails is where you would use the rotation the most. And then your colors. So your colors are going to be your ink color. So your screen printed ink color, or your digital color if you're going to be getting digital prints. So your color here is what the design will be printed as. So we can change those colors. If you see a color box with a red mark slashed through it, that means that it's a show through, so no ink is going to be printed there. And what that means, so some of this text or some of the clip art in particular, you'll have the show through box here. And what that means is that there's areas on there that you can either create an outline, let's do blue, or here you can fill that in. So your no ink will turn to having ink in the middle. So then this will be solid as opposed to it showing through to the garment. And then we have some of our special effects, which we'll show you in a little bit, from adding distressed, from adding outlines and separated outlines and arches and that sort of thing. So we'll show you that. Distressed also, adding a distressed look and your patterns. So I'll go over that in a little bit. As far as the artboard though, your invisible objects here are going to be any objects or designs that are kind of hidden. Maybe his eyeball moved out of place or something like that while you were designing, and his eyeball, got behind the O. So you can click on invisible objects and see that, oops, that's not supposed to be there. That's supposed to be over his eye. So the invisible objects is that. Let's get that back. I do Control Z to undo. So if you see things jumping around, that's probably what I'm doing. It's kind of a habit at this point. So let's group him back together. And then showing our grid lines. So this will put grid lines on your artboard here, just in case you want to try and make sure that you're staying in line. If something gets tilted a little bit, if this line got tilted, oops, that's not, so. To keep things in line, so if something did get tilted out of the way, or if you want to help yourself align things, if you hold down the shift button, instead of it being free flowing to where you can stop at any point, if you hold down the shift button while doing this, it will jump to different degrees. So you can actually control your angle a little bit better, and it will jump. So it'll jump to vertical, it'll jump to horizontal also. So that's a cool feature that you can use. Let's see, what did we do? Grouping and ungrouping. So you have your clip art here. You can, if you wanted to move that eyeball like I did before, you can go to Object, Ungroup, or it's a Control U, Object, Ungroup. And then when you click off of it, you're able to move around some of the pieces. So that would be an awesome feature if you were just looking to do a silhouette, if you just wanted the silhouette in the middle there. So that's the ungroup. Some of these objects, some of the clip arts that we have here can ungroup down to his beak, his eye, and there's some other clip arts too that will show you that you can ungroup down to, a shirt. If you're putting in a football player, you can change the color of just his shirt as opposed to, the entire clip art area. So that is that. And then down here is where we're going to save our design. So our save button will save it to your library. Now we can call it anything that we want, but one tip that I will have for you is that when we save things and put our text in here, we can use our search feature to our advantage when we're saving all these designs. So say I'm making a lot of shirts for Menor, and I want to make sure that all of my Menor shirts are together, and I know I can just pull them up when I need to and search for them. I'm going to type in, Menor Eagles, fan jersey, and then you can put a date, you can put anything that you need to help you organize. I keep the layout in there just in case I need to refer back to it, and then just hit save. And save complete. So now when you go into my library, it's going to ask you whether you want to add the design to your artboard or replace the design. Let's just do replace. So this is your library. These are all of the designs that we've saved. And here's our design here. So in your library, if I had a whole bunch of Menor designs, I would be able just to type in Menor, and there we go. My text from my description has come through and helped me organize this a little bit better. We can add these designs to our favorite. So love that design. Needs a little work, but love that design. So then you can go to your select categories and your favorite layouts. Let's see, favorite, whoops, saved layouts. There we go. Favorite layouts. Not there. Okay. Let's get back to our board. Let's take off the grid lines and let's start. Let me show you a few other things. Let's see. Let's add in a layout here. Let's do something a little bit more complicated, a little bit more detailed, and I'll show you a few other things. Let's see. This is a really popular one, this football layout. We take our layout. All right, so now we have this football layout, football QFB 188 here. We can take this design, and I'm just going to start customizing. Make it orange. Now, one thing I didn't show you over here is our ordering summary, our background color over here. So this is the background color that we're going to replace in the back here. And this is going to be what we're mocking up as our shirt color or whatever piece of apparel that we're going to be putting it on. So we can kind of visualize, what it's going to look like on that color. Oops, so we don't want to do orange because I picked orange ink. So let's do blue. Okay, so we have our blue background on with our orange ink. So if I wanted to make this a 2-color, what I can do is I can select all, and change everything that show through to white. So I can do that, or maybe I don't want that background. Maybe I just want that orange and not show through. So I can just do that. There we go. Now here you can, that's a cool football guy. Here you can actually change and add different clip arts. You can swap. So if you click on a clip art over here, here's your clip art number that you clicked on. You can click swap, and it will take you to our layout, or our clip arts that you can swap it with. Say I didn't like that football. I just want a standard football. I can stick that in there, click on it, rotate it into position. It came through. I'm going to select this. It came through as ungrouped. All right, there we go. If I wanted to change the football, and then let's change. It looks pretty good. Say if I wanted a different banner, swap that out. Different banner. I can increase the size of the banner. Maybe you want that a little bit bigger, and do the text too. So here's a design. Let's change the text. Let's call that Menor football. Okay, let's change the C there and change that to Menor. Okay, so for instance, we have this design. Let's take a look. So we have our 11 and a quarter by 14 inch sheet size here. We have a design that we like, and we don't need it to be that big. Um, let's change our artboard because we don't need it to be that tall. Let's landscape this artboard. Let's put it right there. So we have our 11 and a quarter by 14 inch sheet size here that we're going to use for screen printed transfers, but we have all of this extra space left over at the end. So what's nice about screen printed transfers is that you can utilize this space and create a gang sheet. So to do that, depending on what type of gang sheet you need, for instance, um, if you need 50 of these at this size, we can duplicate and maybe be able to fit 2 on there. Okay. So we're able to gang these images on a sheet. And then all you would have to do is come in with a pair of scissors and just cut that around. So then now you have 2 transfers. So we can create gang sheets from this, either with the exact same image, or we can add a layout, add text, or add clip art. So for instance, if you just wanted to add a clip art, they're the men are cardinals. So let's take a cardinal. I'm just playing around here, so just grabbing things to show you. So we have our men are cardinals football, and then I'm going to control D, control duplicate, and I'm able then to create a gang sheet with all of these logos. One tip that we have too, if you only need, for instance, one of these, maybe you have another customer that's also using white or orange in their design, that you can add their logo or something like that here, or your own company name, your own company logo, you can also add in this sheet. So you can make a gang sheet and really utilize the area. We see customers too that will try and fit in as much as possible. I caution you doing that sometimes, only because if we really get in there close, and for instance, if you're ordering hundreds of designs and you're butting these designs up real close together, you're going to have to go through each transfer sheet and cut those apart. Okay. So you'll have to go in with a pair of scissors, or if it's that close, maybe even an X-Acto knife or something like that. But each transfer sheet is going to need to be cut apart. Now, if you're only ordering 5-10 sheets, yeah, that might not be too bad of a labor-intensive project. But if you are ordering a larger quantity, we want to try and keep these as easy and clean cuts as we possibly can, so that you can either get in there with a paper guillotine, one of those chopping cutters, or be able to cut a few sheets at a time doing it this way, as opposed to really getting those designs butt up together. So you can definitely butt them up together if you'd like, but it's when it gets to be larger quantities of sheets, then it becomes more labor intensive than what's needed. So that's the gang sheets. You can do single image, multi-image. You could put different logos on there. You will want to use the same colors that each design is using, because as you add colors, the price of your designs, the price of your transfers will increase. So you just want to make sure that you're kind of organizing it in a way that you're using the same colors on the sheet. So if I like this design, it doesn't need to be orange. But it's at least using one of the colors that is in this design. Let's see. All right, let me see if we have, I'm going to start a new design here. Let me show you uploading your own artwork. So we have our Easy Prints layouts there. Now, what if you wanted to upload your own artwork? Your own artwork was here in the middle, upload your own artwork, or you can get to it by the add your own artwork on the left-hand side of the artboard. So you can choose your file, and So a few different files are accepted. Here, let me show you here. A few different files are accepted. PDFs, JPEGs, PNGs, and TIFF files. Or if you are working in Adobe Illustrator, CorelDRAW, Photoshop, we can use those files, but they'll need to be converted into a PDF then before uploading. So that it will accept PDF files. Now, with screen printed transfer artwork, the best files are going to be vector files. So if your artwork is created as vector, you can upload a PDF file that contains vector artwork. And that's the easiest for us to process. And the fact that you can, it doesn't require designers then going in and redrawing the artwork. So we're able to take your artwork as it's shown and print from it that way. So then if you are using a JPEG, PNG, or a TIFF file, our artists will actually go back in and redraw that artwork to use as screen printed transfers. So we always prefer vector artwork, but if you don't have it, we'll take anything, JPEGs, PNGs, TIFFs. So here is, I'm going to upload a PDF file. So this is a vector file. It's spot color, 2-color designs. It's coming through as vector. I didn't get any warning saying that it's not. So the artwork is able to be seen in easy view, and the colors over here are actually able to be converted on the screen, so you're able to see it changing in action. So when you click on your design over here, you're going to have exclamation points on your colors. So that just means that you're going to need to let us know which one of our stock colors you want that color printed as. So it's coming through as this random color that I created in our art program. So our program doesn't recognize it. So when you click on that button, it's going to bring you to our color page. So you're able to choose whichever color you want to replace it. So this is navy. So here's our navy blue. I can replace it with our navy blue. And the same goes for the gold. So I want to choose our gold color. So here's our gold color. And you're able to change it on the screen. So say I didn't want that navy blue be printed like that. I just want to go for a black and white design. So I can change that to black, and you can actually see that design change on the screen. I can change the gold to white, and you can actually see it change on the screen. So that's one of the great features of this Add Your Artwork program if you're using vector artwork. So what happens though if you're not using vector artwork, which a lot of people, submit artwork that aren't vector, and I'm sure a lot of your customers do. So they're probably getting the design off the internet, or they're not sure how to save it as a vector file. So we can go and find our file. So this one happens to be a JPEG image, same design, but I'll show you what happens if it's not vector. So the artwork is coming through as a raster image. So you're going to have this white box around the design, if everybody can see that. And a lot of people ask, how do I get rid of this white box? Or, can you make sure that you can't, you're not printing it? Of course we can. So we have our JPEG image. And like I had said before, our designers are going to have to go back in and redraw this because it came through as a raster image. So what the program is going to ask me to do is let them know what colors are in the file so that we know what colors to print. So we're going to configure the color map, which is just picking the colors that you want for your design. So in this artwork, we have our navy blue. So that's the navy blue color here, and I want to choose which ink color I want to replace it with. So I'm going to replace that with the navy blue, and the same goes for the gold. Click on the gold, and then click on the gold. And you'll want to do this for each color that's in your design. Now for that JPEG image that had this white box around it, we don't want that white box. So I'm going to, in the order notes here, I'm going to put please, I use my manners, please remove white box around design. So that's good enough. Please remove white box around the design. So then our designers will make sure that only the navy and the gold are printed, and this will be contoured around the design, and there will be no white box. So we have that. Now, one of the other files, raster files, and it's a little bit confusing. One of the other files is a PNG file. So I have my PNG file here. Now, a PNG file is going to be a raster file, just like our JPEG. But with the PNG files, it has the ability to have a transparent white background. So this one has a white background. This one's showing that there's a background, but you can see through it. So for purposes of just being able to create a layout and use my custom clip art with that layout, you know, a PNG file can be used as well to get rid of that background. So once I have my vector file, I have my, or my raster files. Obviously, vector is going to be better here. So you can use your custom artwork, and you can add, let's see, let's get a cool layout here. It's cool, sports, it's football season, right? Okay, here we go. This is a cool design, and we can take our layout. We're going to move this to the front. Let's get that to the top there. Shrink that down. Get rid of this guy. Delete. And put him right there. Now, if you can see, the text is behind the clip art. I don't want that, so I'm going to click on the text and do Object, Order, and then bring that text to the top. So now the text is over the top. So that's putting in your custom clip art. Okay, now if you wanted to upload a full color image, say you have a photograph or a full color design that you want to upload, we can do that too, but it would be printed as a digital transfer, which is a full color transfer. It's not screen printed. Let's see, where did I have this one here? So say we have a family reunion coming up, and we need a digital transfer for that. It's got this distressed. I'll take that distressed off. To take that distressed off, we just want to highlight the layout that has it. And over here on the left-hand side, you'll click distressed. Okay, let's just get rid of that. Click distressed. So now we have our picture. Now our picture is asking for us to color map it, and that's simply because we are telling it that we want it screen printed, and we now know that we can't do it screen printed, so we are going to choose a digital transfer, or you can use our new stretch litho transfer that also can use full color artwork, or our non-apparel, which are banners, wall graphics, stickers, that sort of thing. So any of the digital products here, you can get your image printed at that's full color, and it doesn't require you to color map because it's going to be printed as is. So one thing to keep in mind though, because we are printing it as is, you want to upload a piece of artwork that's at least 300 DPI at the size that you want it printed at. So just make sure that you have a good quality image, and it will be good quality when it's printed. So that's our uploading artwork, and from here we can add text. We can make it into, you know, Johnson family reunion. You know, they can have you can add your text. You can add clip arts to this. You can add banners. So for instance, if we have this, it's not going to show up too well. We can go in here, we can go down to our effects, and here we can add an outline. and change the color of the outline. When you have that little exclamation point here, you can change the color. So here's your color. And with that outline, we can increase the weight of the outline or decrease it, either by a lot or a little. So if we want to do big jumps of an increase of the outline, we can do that, or smaller outline. So we can do that, or our remove outline will remove the outline on there, like that. You can do your separated outline here too. You can change the middle color, the gap, and then change the outline. So that's our outline colors. And then you're able to place your order straight from this screen. So there's your uploaded artwork. A couple of the other things that I wanted to show you guys. Let's see, is our show through. We had written a blog about this maybe a month or so back about your show through standards. So with screen printed and digital transfers, there are certain line thicknesses and weights of outlines and areas that are going to show through to the shirt, that there are standard thicknesses to what can print and what could end up being legible when you go and apply it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into our fashion section, because that seems to have the most amount of detail in there, and choose one of these layouts. Let's see. So let's just choose this layout here. So we have this layout and it has some detail, and at a large size, this will print great. So we have our text here looking good. It's going to print great. Now, say we wanted to drop this down and do a left chest or a cap or something like that. So we're making a really small design. It's now only 2.5 inches wide. What we want to do is make sure that it's going to print good and it's going to look good once it's applied to the shirt. So what we're going to do is I'm going to test to see what the show through thickness is, and make sure that all of the areas that are open are big enough to hold well. So one thing that we do is we go in and add a clip art, and I usually add a circle, but you can do any shape. So I'm just going to add a circle clip art. Now look at all these clip art. Here we go. X19A-1 is just our standard small dot. I'm going to change this dot so I'm easily able to see it to, say, neon pink. And our show through thickness is 0.04. So in the size of the circle, I'm going to put 0.04, and that's going to make a really tiny circle there. And I'm going to move this up here. I'm going to select it all, and I'm going to zoom in. Zoom to selected. Okay, so now we have our 2.5 inch wide design, but I want to make sure that these areas are going to hold and not close up. So what happens is when you go to apply this to the shirt, ink expands a little bit when you go to apply it at the shirt. So these areas here that don't meet the show through line thickness have the potential of closing up to where the ink is going to merge with the other side, and it may not show as much detail as you'd like. So one quick test that we do is we take this little 0.04 circle and kind of hold it over and see what areas we're looking at of having issues. Some designs, if it is swirls or text or something like, or not text, but if it's just swirls and splatters and detail like that, where it's okay if it closes up a little bit, then that's fine. You just let us know, I understand that it's not meeting the show through thickness, but we're good to go anyway. Or if it is text, and for instance, if this text was a little bit smaller, and even with this outline here, this outline isn't big enough. What we have is this text might close up. So for instance, in the A, in this little open area in the A, if we hold that over, it's a little smaller than that circle, right? So what's going to happen is that might close up, and you might end up with a solid area right here after it's applied. If you don't want that, all you can do is try your best to make this a little bit bigger, for instance. Okay, so that's helping. It's not perfect, but it's helping. Or in the case of the outlines, we can go ahead and beef up the outlines a little bit. So if you click on your text and go to effects, like we did increase and decrease the outlines before, we can take our outlines and beef them up a little bit just to make sure that we're going to meet that. So now it's going to print nice and we won't have any issues of the text closing up. You see that? So we do that a lot with text just to make sure that it's going to be legible after it's applied. And then you have your 0.04 show through thickness. We also have a 0.012 line thickness. So it's a lot smaller, but your lines on your text, on your details here should be this 0.012. And it looks like this design is more than enough. So 0.04 and 0.012 are your line thickness and show through thickness. So that's a quick little tool to help make sure that your designs are going to print well. Let's see, we have a few minutes here. Okay. I want to make sure that I'm showing you guys everything that I wanted to show you. Outlines, inverting colors. Okay, so I'll show you this real quick. New design. Let's get a clip art here. Choose clip art. So say your design, let's use the bear. So we have our design here. And with the bear, so say I wanted this bear on a dark shirt. So I'm going to choose, let's just choose a navy blue. Now we can't see black, so let's choose a light color. Let's do white. So now we have our bear here. But the bear looks kind of weird. He doesn't look right. He looks inverted. It looks like the colors are inverted. It looks like a negative photograph was taken. So I'm going to show you the difference here. I'm going to duplicate this to show a difference. Duplicate. So we have our bear here. What I would do in this instance is I'm going to invert the colors. So a little trick that we've learned along the way is so everything in white, I just want to make a random color just to switch them around. Now anything that's show through, I want to make white. We're just going to switch them. Now we're going to move this green back to navy. So now I have the bear in an inverted color, but there's still something missing. He still looks kind of weird because he doesn't have his ears. Like, where did his ears go? The bottom of his mouth. So to fix this, I'm going to click on effects and add an outline. And we have our outline here. Now we need to specify what color we want that outline to be. And I'm going to just choose the white. So now we have our white outline around our clip art, and we can click OK. So now we have a bear that looks more like the original. The colors are back to inverted, and he doesn't look so scary over there. So that's a quick tip on inverting your colors, and you can do that with a lot of different clip arts. A lot of clip arts will do this to you, especially like a sports ball. So a baseball will do it to you. Everything in black. You could do white, or you can flip those colors around, change it to white, everything there to navy, and that's more looking like a white baseball as everybody knows it to be, with the dark laces. So that's one way to flip the baseballs around. Let's see. I'm going to jump around. And this was a question that came through our Facebook page. We offer text layouts, or typesetting layouts. So if you need a list of names on a shirt, for instance, for a school. So I'm going to go into the school layouts and go over to rosters. So say your school class has wants all of the kids' names on the shirt. So we're going to click on rosters. And we have our typesetting layouts here. So I'm going to choose, let's see. I don't know. We'll just choose a simple layout here. So this is a sponsor, but we're going to change this into a school class. Madison High School, and then these are going to be seniors. So we've got our Madison High School seniors here. All of these names I would like to, all of these sponsors here I want to change to names. So what I'm going to have to do here is do this typeset list here. So it'll bring you to our typesetting list. And instead of all of these sponsors, I want to get rid of these. I can import a TXT file or a text file. So name lists, if you create in Notepad, if you're using a Windows computer, you can use the Notepad and accessories and create a single column, all uppercase list. That's your name list, and save it as a TXT file. And you're able to upload all of the names that you want to add in, so you do not have to type them. So you can add all of your names in here. You can specify how many columns you want, so we can change the number of columns and whether we want them left justified, right justified, or in the center. So we're just going to do the center. And then click OK, and it will load in all of the names that you have here. So we have our names. That's a lot of names. I want to be careful shrinking these down. Somebody had posted on our Facebook page that they got 300 names on a shirt. And normally, when we shrink these down, that show through and line thickness starts to become an issue. So we want to be mindful of that and make sure that we have a nice size text, and we can do our show through and line thickness text like I had showed you, and just make sure that the text is going to hold and look its best when printed. But you want to make sure that that this text doesn't get too small to where when you go and press it, that the names all like run together and it becomes illegible. So keep that in mind when you're doing TXT files. But you can then add, your colors and different clip art and stuff to the design too, if you wanted to spice it up a little bit. So that's the TXT files. You can change your line spacing and move them further and closer together, your column spacing, how far apart you want the columns, and so forth. So that's your TXT files, and you can add those to pretty much any layout. All you have to do when you pull up a layout is go to add text and then add typesetting columns, and that'll bring up that typesetting list. That's that. And I think that was everything that I wanted to show you guys. So let me bring you back to let me get you. All right, let's get you back to our slides, and I'll tell you a little bit about our next webinar that we have coming up on October 13th. And we're going to show you how to create some flyers to help with your t-shirt business. So we'll show you a few different types of flyers that you can use, whether you're using them for fundraising or creating some flyers that you just want to hand out to customers with cool designs on them. So that's our upcoming webinar next month, October 13th. If you have any topics that you'd like to see Transfer Express cover in a webinar, you can email them to info@transferexpress.com. And then, of course, if you have any questions, feel free to email us at info@transferexpress.com. We have a ton of information on our blogs, on our YouTube channel, on our Facebook page. So definitely follow us on Facebook. And then we're at trade shows. We're just wrapping up our year, and for trade shows, we've got a few going on now. So we really hope to see you there. You can check out our events page and to see any of the upcoming shows that we have, and then our contact information below. So we will have this webinar recorded, so you can watch it again if you need to. That'll be up tomorrow. And if we didn't get to any of your questions through the chat, then we will definitely get back to you and email you. So thank you, everybody, for joining us today. I hope you got a lot of information out of it and are now able to create really cool designs in EasyView. Share them on our Facebook page too. We'd love to see what you guys create. Have a good day.